I wanna do now is making it last. Mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, friends forever, strengthening the ties that keep us together. Mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, friends forever, strengthening the ties that keep us together.
How can siblings improve their relationships? But in particular, how then do you maintain your individuality and still be, good siblings, so to speak, to each other? This is Making It Last, another podcast with your host, Noreen Daly. And I have three gentlemen who I will classify as the Forsythe brothers, and I'll allow them to introduce themselves.
Hi, I am Mical Forsythe, the eldest of us three.
I'm Richard, second.
And I'm Andrew, the last.
Okay. I have had the privilege of interacting with these gentlemen, in different contexts. And one of the things I've always admired about them is that there is this synergy as brothers. There's this, they support each other. And I am sure it is not something that comes easy. So I want these gentlemen to just tell us what are some of the things that they do to ensure that they maintain that brotherly connection, because out of that, others can then get some tips in terms of how then to improve their own relationships with their siblings.
All right. I think it helped that we grew up very close. Our age difference is not far. I think we're like very close. That would be like 1.5 years, 2 years, between 2 years between each, yes.
Okay.
And we used to play together, especially because all three of us, we used to absolutely love to play. We used to love to ramp. And I guess playing formed a bond that really, I guess, as we can see now, it lasted.
Okay.
What to me, something that was very important, growing up, in my class, I was the only student who had a mother and father who were still together. That's one. A mother and father who were living together. A mother and father who were married. Like the only student in my class. And that's like for most of my years, coming up through like primary school and then high school. And I guess because of that closeness, I guess that helped with the kind of relationship that we have now.
Okay.
For me, I think that it comes down a lot to communication, being supportive of each other. Currently, we have a WhatsApp group between the three of us, and there was once a time when it wasn't so active, but now, like for the last couple of years, it has been one of the most active groups that I am in our WhatsApp. We talk about the smallest of things. We don't live together in the same house, but we spend a lot of time together. We're normally at each other's houses, playing game, cooking, just having fun, watching TV, that kind of thing. Even though, for the most part, we are all busy with our different lives, but we find time to incorporate each other in the life, no matter how busy we get.
Well, for me, I'm going to first attribute it to our parents. Mommy and daddy would what others would call strict.
Okay.
So I don't know how to put it, but we weren't really allowed to go outside and play with other persons around.
Okay.
At first we thought it was bad, but looking back now, we can consider it a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it helped to bond us, because what we used to do when they weren't there. Hi, mommy. When they weren't at home,
Okay.
we would normally hide and go out and play. And it's like where our house is, we live in a lane.
Mm-hmm.
and our house is a good distance from the main road. But whenever mommy and daddy turn into that lane, we normally hear the car and we go inside, every duty do. Everything was speak and span. We just the teamwork just that sign just went off, and all three of us would go in the house and get to work, and it's not even a 1 minute drive, and everything would be done speak and span before mommy and daddy come out of the car and reach into the house. So
Is this going to be new information when they hear this, or they know this already?
I'm pretty sure they would have figured it out.
Oh,
from-
by now.
from-
Okay, just checking. Continue.
and attributed to the fact that we meet up and we play games. This I think is one of the main things. He even mentioned that we do have busy lives, and each of our lives is like it don't interact that much to be, you know. We can't say coincide. So we kind of work at the same place, but still we still have separate lives.
Okay.
Now, what is important is even in your personal relationships with your other half, it's important to note that if you intend to have a lasting relationship, you have to. Why, Michael, aren't you looking at me like you're surprised that I talk this much? You know, it's important that you take the time out, whether you're busy or not, stay in touch so that you can build that relationship, no matter what the type of relationship.
Okay. Before anybody, just a quick question: is it that you have a scheduled time? This is time. This is our time. That it's once a week we get together and we do it, or it's just something that just happens?
Actually, no, we don't. It just happens when it just happens that all three of us are free.
Okay.
And as Richie spoke about the WhatsApp group earlier, sometimes we talk there and we say, okay, what you doing tomorrow? And then when we find a day that all three of us are free, then we'd link up, because it's not often that we can find like even a full 3 block of days that all three of us are free.
Okay.
So when we are free, then we'd link up. But I think what the three of us spoke about would have been when we were much younger. Right now, the thing that I like about the three of us as brothers, we seem to have common interests.
Okay.
Right, even now. And a lot of the things that I'm passionate about, my brothers are also passionate about. So we share the same passions. And sometimes when I like something online, I see something on Amazon that I'm like, hey, I like this. I want to get this. I share it in the group, and all three of us realize that, yes, all three of us like this. Next 2 weeks, all three of us, we bought it. It's just something, we just have common interests.
What if somebody who's listening saying, but I don't have common interests with my siblings? What then would you tell somebody like that?
Well, I think it's more of how can I incorporate your common interests to suit mine. So now this comes back to compromise. How can I help you to help me while I help you?
Okay.
Because for the most part, it is said that blood is thicker than water, and that is true to the utmost. There's nothing more relaxing than knowing that even though you might have friends, you might have disagreements with your friends, you can always come back to family for support and in anything that you need, time or need, anything that you need. And it is also important to always respect your siblings' interests. So if I like music and my brother loves football and I don't like football, I still need to be respectful of what his interests are. How can I help to build our relationship to keep it strong, much stronger than the Titanic?
Okay. Okay. Now, somebody might be listening and saying, but boy, these gentlemen sound like they never ever have any disagreements, man. And is that so? And if you do have disagreements, or how then do you all deal with conflict so it doesn't negatively impact the connection, the strong bond that exists?
Well, Richard did mention, is it Richard or Michael, that the WhatsApp group was a bit dormant for a
Okay.
while. We have disagreements,
Okay.
but it's very important, and I'm going to always say this: it doesn't matter what kind of relationship you have, whether it's at home, whether it's at work, whether it's your intimate relationship. You need to learn to forgive and let go, because keeping it up in your heart is not going to solve anything. So you get together and you discuss the matter, or even if it's a WhatsApp group, we discuss the matter and move on. Everybody is happy at the end of the day. In that same breath, you learn to respect the person's, because it can be something simple as one's belief. You just have to get to the point where you respect the person's belief, and because of you care about the relationship that you have, you will forgive and build back the love relationship you have had, so as to ensure that at the end of the day everybody's happy.
Well, definitely it's not just all roses. We have fought, like physical fights among each other. And we even have times when we can all come back and we talk about it and we joke about it, just, wow, what were we fighting over?
Okay.
And how silly this was. And at the end of the day, we can say, yes, but you were wrong or you were right. And what I like about us, and yes, most times both of them say I'm wrong.
Okay.
What I like about us, as Andrew said, respect each other's opinions. And I think the respect among us three will hold it in high regard. And because of that, I think we can bounce back from anything. I have a very, very strong personality. You hear them laughing right now.
Yes. I'm picking up the nonverbals. Yes.
I have a very strong personality. And sometimes at work or, back in school days, when I have an opinion and I share my opinion, probably persons, they never like they don't like my opinion in the first place. And then they also never like how I shared my opinion. But it was recently we're at Richard's house and we're actually playing games, but we're talking and I was like, how is it then that it's like we can say anything to each other, we can talk to each other, but at the end of the day, we don't even have to worry if this will cause a rift in our friendship. I can freely share my opinion. Richie can freely share his opinion. At the end of the day, and I find this different when it comes to other persons, and especially like interpersonal relationships or significant others. Sometimes when I have to be careful how I speak, how I express myself, with my significant other. With my brothers, I can feel free to speak because at the end of the day, my significant other might say, why is he speaking to me like this? Or is this how he really feels or something like that? And then that in itself might be a seed of doubt, as to motives or something. But that was the conversation I was having with my brothers. How comes we don't ever have that seed of doubt when we talk to each other, when we disagree, or, we can disagree, we can fight about it, and we move on.
All three of you've said several things. Playing together created a bond. Y'all try to ensure that there's constant communication by having a WhatsApp group. Y'all make an effort. You spend time together. Andrew spoke about the fact that he believes that this bond has a lot to do with the parental influence that happened from early. And one of the things that was mentioned is the whole idea of being respectful of other people's interests. Is there anything else that any of you gentlemen would want to mention?
Well, one major thing is learning to celebrate the big and little things. I'm currently in school, and one can say I'm doing well. So when in that same WhatsApp group, when I get my grades, I'll share it in the group, and both my brothers would say congrats and big up and proud of you and those little things. Those are the little things that really matter. Recently, I was producing a documentary about autism. Now, I needed to. The plan was to get a certain company involved in the documentary, which was not in Mandeville. I don't own a car, and the equipment that I would have would be too much to, say, take public transportation to go with. Now, if I'm going to ask somebody to bring me to that location, the crew would have to be small.
Okay.
But I didn't have a problem because I had my two brothers who share the same interest as I do, who is very much into communication as I am. So we three were the crew that went to shoot the documentary, video record the documentary. Now, I felt real good to be able to do, because this is, I can consider it my final individual piece before leaving university. And I felt proud to know that I had two persons who I could rely on to accompany me to this production.
Nice.
And when that was during production and post-production, during the editing, we all met up and we reviewed the documentary. We did the corrections together. And we now have a wonderful documentary, which I can't wait to be premiered.
Yes, soon.
For me, I think one of the major things that we need to always remember is that it is important to not just be siblings, but also to be friends. Yes, there might be times when you have disagreements, but if you are more than just siblings, siblings is just one part of the relationship. But building strong friendships between each other will allow you to have just more than the mere fact that you are bound by blood. So you share common interests as friends, you go out, you enjoy yourselves, and you always support each other. As Andrew says, celebrate the big and the little things. It doesn't matter how small, and it doesn't matter how large it is. Celebrate it and love each other. Cherish everything.
For me, it's all about relationships and how we grow our relationships. I think persons, we all have different personalities. And you see, if you are someone who you can't even hold and keep a good friendship, a meaningful friendships, then more than likely you'll probably be someone who your friendships, your relationships with your siblings, with your parents might also be strained. So it comes down to who we are, and sometimes it means that we have to take a step back and analyze ourselves and the type of individuals that we are. And if we have more individuals who are willing to be their brother's keeper, and I use that term loosely, not just because we three here are brothers, but your sisters, your parents, your friends, the different relationships that we have in life. If we are willing to be our brother's keepers, while someone else out there is willing to be our keeper, then life will be a much better place as we try to grow to even make ourselves, our relationships, and Jamaica a better place.
Such a good note to end on. One of the things that has really popped out at me and made such an impression is the whole idea that rather than just focusing on the fact that, yes, this is family, this is my sibling, work on ensuring that you actually are friends. This was Making It Last podcast with your host, Noreen Daly, where it's all about trying to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people.
You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.